What do I get? When you're right, then I'll back to my next way. Okay. Sort of get it, takes you that. Sure, they keep they win. Yes. Called the sheriff, he says, hey, so you know, I was just trying to. So I got it. Okay, we'll let you go. He goes, but I don't think you'll be gas. Oh, I don't understand. And you want to know the little stuff. Got it on. Great. Yeah. It goes on. To the rescue again.
Yeah,
To the rescue.
I know.
Oh, I'm getting better, you know?
Brian. You wearing your leg?
Yeah.
How come your left leg looks longer than your right leg?
It's kind of like my dick too.
Is that an answer?
Do you like that answer?
That was good. So I wheel you out and you go smoke.
Okay.
All right.
I gotta find my Bible. You know, I'm ready to shoot. And then I had watched this show, so there's. Me. And now they go to. Operations and maintenance zone, that's what you're gonna do, like, what's this? Those people. What? I want to quit being. Until we do it, let's go to the house. I said, I don't know. Watch, don't do that.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, the time is 15:01. I call this meeting to order, November 6, 15:01. At this time, if you can, please stand for the
Quiet allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
please take your seats. Begin with roll call. The VFW. Here. American Legion. U.S. Air Force Association. Here. U.S. Navy League. Military Purple Heart. Here. Go DBA 668. Here. Go. Ragada Vets.
Yes.
Go. U.S. 61 is here. Third Marine Division. Here. Denado Vets.
Here.
All right, gentlemen, we have 4 of them. Okay, at this time, item number 4, I'm gonna go ahead and acknowledge the public notice that was posted on 30 January and February 3rd of 2026. Secretary does have copies in hand for the notices that were published. Also, the agenda, as we move on to the approval of the agenda for today's meeting, there is one change that I've been asked to make to move item number 9 up to be item number 8. Basically, we're putting old business in front of new business. So we will address old business before we move on to new business. Other than that, that's the agenda. If there's no objections, we can move forward with that. No objections, we're going to move forward with the secretary's report.
So for the secretary's report, I sent out via WhatsApp to all the members on Saturday, the 31st of January. So you take a look at it. Everybody got it except for a couple of folks. Apparently we didn't know where it. And one other person didn't get it, but right. But otherwise, everybody should have gotten a copy of the minutes from the December 19th meeting. The other item on the secretary's report that I'd like to put out, and that was to the question that's always been asked about does the commission need to publish notice of its meetings? And so I went and I looked at the law 5 GCA chapter 8 on the open government law, and here's the excerpt. The formation of public policy and decisions shall not be conducted in secret. Every meeting of a public agency shall be open and public. Third, public agency includes any advisory board, mission created by law. We meet all of them. Fourth, notice of regular meetings. We have to give 5 working days public notice and a second public notice at least 48 hours prior to the start of the meeting. And we've been meeting that. Fifth, public notice means a publication in the newspaper or general circulation or by another eligible media platform such as the electronic news medium. So that hopefully answers the question of why do we need to publish notice of the meetings. Note that every time we publish the meetings, that costs GOBA $780 for each time. So I think it would be helpful if you're not going to be able to attend the next meeting to notify me or GOBA so that we're not going to have quorum. You don't need to spend that $780. That's my report.
Just for clarification, it's the newspaper of general circulation and electronic media, or is it?
I think like in the case of, I think the electronic media is allowed. That was the latest change that was made by Senator Mooney Horns a couple of sessions ago.
Okay. So, that being said, like, GOVA is spending $780 every time we have to put this into the newspaper. At this point, we can put it up for discussion with, I guess if we can get a motion to, from here on out, moving forward with simply electronic notifications.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, before we go there, what platform with the electronic notifications?
So,
Was there a particular platform that you need to?
So one thing that I recall was when we were doing this during COVID, and Brandon, correct me if I was wrong, there was notifications in the community awareness pages of KUM. They had a community page, PDN. So basically, when there was more news, print news media, they also had a social community platform. I think if we can go ahead and identify that to include the government pages, the governor's page, the legislative page, and at least try to get as much reach as we can. So governor's page, legislature's page, and then the electronic versions of each of the news media. So there is Guam Daily Post, there's the Guam, the Pacific Daily News. I believe there's also Candid News has they're strictly digital. So right there, we have at least 5 ways of circulating that. For the commission members itself, there is a chat group for each member that is part of the commission. So it can go out in that fashion as well for you to distribute to your members. So.
Yeah, so before we jump in and start figuring it out, right? I believe we need to pull the order, pull the law, right, and define it, right? Just by looking at the excerpts, eligible media platforms, right? So that's what you were asking. So we need to identify what are those eligible media platforms, because if there's a way we can get around this, so we're not spending, GOVA is spending $780 like public service announcements. If I'm clear, public service announcements are free. Right, but again, I highly recommend we pull the law, make sure we completely understand it before we try to move forward with the direction. Chair.
Sir.
May I pose a question?
Yes, sir.
Since it doesn't, since it makes a statement of generality as far as e-publication, can we as a committee choose what we want to use?
So it's not necessarily generality, right? It says eligible media platforms. So we need to identify what that eligible means.
Same question.
Yeah.
Can we determine what that means?
I don't think we can, that's putting the cart in front of the horse. Before we can determine, we got to understand what are those eligible media platforms are.
So I think the media that GOVA has been using, which is the Guam Daily Post, which publishes electronically and also publishes in print.
Right.
Okay, and it's all general circulation. I mean, it's probably got a far reach. I feel comfortable that publishing in that meets the requirement of the Open Government Law.
Makes sense to me.
Right.
Just a suggestion, I would go with publishing when we're meeting in the community page, we're here. Bay Commission meeting this day, that's free. Then we figure out which one of these electronic we use. And then go and ask the AG, does this cover this? Then we're covered. Because there's no need to spend that money for this. And I understand you gotta follow the laws and stuff, but come on, it's gotta be a better way. Then maybe, who's over there at PDN that's making money off of us spending $700 every month?
Senator, can we just draft a letter then? I mean, at this point, it would be a clarification from the Attorney General's office and there might already be precedents from other commissions and other board meetings, Chamorro Land Trust, Guam Education Board, whatever. There may already be precedents, and they'll say just follow their suit. So if we can generate a letter to the AG's office, hopefully we get that response in time. Once we get a response, we'll be able to push it out, and depending on the time frame that we get the response from the Attorney General's office, by the next meeting, we may move forward with the electronic
Well,
notices. Yeah,
somebody knows a lawyer, right?
sure.
Ask them. They should be able to tell you, yeah, that covers it.
First visit tree.
Soon as, if we get out here in enough time, I'll walk over to Avalos legal office and just pose a question, say, hey, guys, I need an answer on this as soon as possible.
Yeah, I mean, the other way too, right? I mean, if there are agencies that are meeting monthly, then why don't we just roll up all government agencies that are meeting monthly? These are the agencies that are meeting this month, and this is the date, right? That way, if you go with an entire agencies under government of Guam, we're saving across Gulf Guam.
But the problem with that is you have to publish your agenda and minutes. That's the problem.
So
Not the agenda, not the agenda.
that's the agenda. So two questions there, right? Number one, who will freely publish our meeting notices? Then second, beyond that is who will also continue to do it at minimal charge? Who will also then follow up and allow us to put on the agenda? Right? I mean, it's electronic.
I still think we need to do a little bit more research, yeah.
I'll ask legal and see what we can do with that. Okay,
This keyword there is for. Either
okay, so that's,
paper or electronic.
so that means to save $780 for Global every single month, that can be put to good use. Alright. Alright, that's the secretary's report. Gotta get a motion to accept. I'll accept. Okay, we had our discussion, alright, motion accepted, motion.
Sorry, point of order, you forgot discussion.
What we were doing.
I'm just,
Any discussions? I got you. Any discussions, sir?
First of all, you guys know that the budget has been released already. The budget for the veterans. And $780 times 12 is definitely gonna affect that budget. And it's gonna put a burden definitely on GOVA. And GOVA's in the transition right now that every penny counts.
Understood, and that's why we're gonna make that effort to try to hopefully get an answer to just completely move towards digital advertising from here on out. And that'll save the GOVA the $780.
and I'll be a stickler once again. It is not a secretary, it is an adjutant by the bylaws. Just so you,
Understood. Any further discussion? No. Okay, again, motion to accept secretary's report. First, second, let's go. Okay, motion carries. Director, your report.
Mr. Chair, you can pass on real quick.
Hopefully. They need a referee. Well,
So, yeah, in the meantime, we could probably just look over the report so that we kind of streamline some time rather than wait for him to talk. And if you guys do have something, when it comes time for the discussion, we can open it up for discussion at that point.
I have one question, please. Whose responsibility is it to make sure the agenda is done every month that puts forward, who does that? That's adjutant, is that chairman?
That's, so the executive committee reviews the agenda from prior meetings. And then, between the executive board, we discuss,
Build the agenda out.
yeah, what's gonna be on the agenda for the next month. Okay, Director.
Gentlemen, good afternoon. So from my report, I'm going off the agenda that was published. And so I'll start with the item 1. Consideration, was there a consideration of an alternate office location for GOVA prior to, any of the final decision being made, thus to move at a final location? And the answer is yes. It's not in sequence, but it's more than a year ago. I actually visited the location that used to be the Sunny, I guess, Lakes. They used to sell air conditioners and all those little knickknacks. It's a 2-story high.
My dear. Next to the old UIU building, if you remember that one.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Papa John.
Correct, Papa John.
so, there was a gentleman that works for the government that kind of called me and told me that place was kind of available. We went and looked at it. there was a lot of renovation that needed to take place. I did communicate with the owner, asking how much would he desire to sell it, if he was gonna sell it, which wasn't for sale, but they wanted to sell it, like $6 million, yeah, 6 million. It was way up there. We weren't able to afford it. But it's a good location, right? But the thing is, a lot of renovation has to take place. The second one was the Harley Davidson next to GPAO. That was up for sale. We get inquired, they wanted a little bit over 2 million for that, but a lot of renovation also had to take place. That would have been a really good place because it's right there on the side of the road, right? It's visible, but also it will allow us to probably keep the office space that we do have now, just add on to that, but we were not able to proceed with that because, whenever we do something like that, we have to RFP so they can do, right? They can compete with other businesses. The third one was the DFS, which is the old DFS over by heading toward Home Memorial Hospital. That was a 7,800 square footage, and that was kind of brought up by my brother here. I mean, ready to move in, nice, ADA compliant, all that good stuff. However, it was kind of conflicting with the potential move or interest of the government to move us up to the chancery. I did share that with our leadership, and apparently they said, Joe, we have to still RFP, right, to compete, and it doesn't guarantee that we're going to get the place that we want. But however, the bottom line is that the chancery became available, and it was purchased by the government, so it's going to be free of charge. The only thing that will be charged for us when we move in there is the regular utilities, water, power, and that's it. So the final decision was made, and that was asked also by our chair, whether we had looked at other places. So that's the response to this is my response to that. So our final move plan is going to be the former Chancery Agana Heights. The deadline for us to move up there is April of this year. By April of this year, we should be fully operational. Right now, they're doing a lot of renovation. There are contractors, they're doing some demolition and stuff. They did a temporary paving of the place. It's not a permanent pave. They just paved it because of the rain, so the contractor could go ahead and continue to do their own thing. I will let you all know that they are allowing us also to move in whenever, start moving in whenever we want. So I give you all kind of a face-by-face line of what we intend to move within each one of those places. I keep telling my folks that we're not going to rush. I want to be able to give time for the contractor to finish their job, so once we start moving in, we don't disrupt what they're doing. But there's still a lot of paving that needs to be done, or the government up at that area. And then the only thing they need to do inside is pay the place, and we're good.
Director, how many square feet are you getting total to use it there?
We're getting the whole office space across.
And roughly, how many?
No, I don't.
Will it satisfy the needs of your growing office to include new employees moving forward?
Yes.
Okay. Records, employees, desk
That's
space, everything like that. Perfect. So the entire Chancery building is going to be GOVA.
Yes, not the house, just the Chancery, the office. Not the office, not the residence, the office.
The single story.
Single story.
Okay,
Not the.
okay.
So that answers that. That's the final move. As far as the A&E guys, there was an extension, a second RFP that DPW sent out, and the reason for that was the first RFP for the architecture and engineering went out. There were two potential bidders. One kind of misunderstood that this was just an architectural and engineering and not a construction phase. So he was kind of got involved and was told when we did the site survey that he doesn't qualify because this is just an architectural phase and engineering. It was one engineering, architecture and engineering that was there. However, as the day passed by, the Department of the DPW director said, hey, let's put out for a second RFP, see if we could get more more participants, so apparently when they shot it out, they were able to bring in two more potential consultants for the architecture and engineering. So they kind of extended the timeline, you know, kind of like a week to 2 weeks out, so from that second RFP, they extended the bid, which was, they were supposed to pick up the bid packages on the 27th of January, that's done with. The submission for any written question that was due on the 14th of January has now been extended to 30 January. That has gone and passed. For them to submit the RFP, it's changed from the submission of the RFP to DPW, all three consultants from the 26th of January. It's been moved now to allow them to submit for their bidding on 16 February at 4 p.m. On or before 4 p.m. So that's three consultants. Okay. With regards to the recruitment for the cemetery workers, guys, I think within been a challenge. From there, the recruitment for the cemetery workers under the old spec is ongoing. There's an announcement that's ongoing, however, with the DOA has not really been successful in having applicants come in and apply or meeting the qualifications. It's up to date from the time that we initiated the hiring and the announcement of the hiring. Of the 6 permanent cemetery workers, we were only able to obtain 1 permanent. That's from the old specs. I'll reverse a little bit because I told me not to say this, but initially we hired 2 permanent. 1 we had to let go within 3 weeks because apparently the individual had a record and someone alerted us that we had to let go of that individual. So initially we were supposed to have 2 of 6. Now we just have one of the 6. So the announcement under the old specs is still ongoing.
So Joe, right here, right, it says that the maturation date with the old specs and the new specs is gonna be mature March 1st.
March 1st, yes.
Is DOA able to build a list now so that you can start reviewing by March 1st, or do they have to compile the list after March 1st?
We're asking them to utilize those that are applying under the old specs to see if they're able to meet those.
I mean, the only change was just no chauffeur's license required.
No, it's not. So guys, just to let you know that the new language on there, if you look at the second page, the language on it, as of 1 March, the amendment of the job specs will take effect, the change may be required. So if they don't have it,
They
if
can't
they okay, but later on, we might need them to have a surplus license. And then again, guys, to my understanding to this, and a lot of this came from DPW and the expert, the only time you need that surplus license is you're driving that heavy equipment or vehicle off the compound. Otherwise, if you don't need it for the compound, however, because it's heavy equipment, you still have to have that heavy equipment license.
Okay, does DOA have a list now, or can you have to request a list based on the old specs, whatever it may be? This way, once March 1st, you can already start scheduling these individuals for interviews. I'm trying to see if we can get ahead of the curve.
Guys, because you guys are now governing body, guys, we're having problems with DOA. A lot of folks from DOA are leaving, they have it somewhere else, and so they're short of staff too. So if you could vote and peek and do a visit up there and say, hey, what's going on, you know? Kind of get a clear picture of what's happening, because every time we push the people that we used to be able to get the information and work with us no longer work there, and these are the people that's been there for the longest time. They have been hired elsewhere. It's something that's out of our control, but I needed to share that with you all, that a lot of this delay so happens to, the experts that used to be there are no longer there. So now we're almost starting over, connecting with who's there now, who's responsible for this. And that's why, the SOPs, right, and turnover folders are very important, because when I'm gone, the guy comes in, he knows what to do. Execute from there. So that's my opinion, right?
No, you're good. And then the last thing we're gonna talk about is your VSRs.
Yeah, guys, with the VSR is pretty much the same. I'll just give you this scenario again, because there's only, Mr. Director, all we have is 2 from the 6 that we hired, that we're supposed to have. Initially, on the initial hire, we hired 4. Only 2 is on board right now. All those 4 from the 6, 1 resigned. The other one didn't want to come in and do work. No show, no call, no show. for like 3 weeks, and I decided launch it out. It's crazy because when that person was under the Department of Labor, that person worked really hard, really good work, so once we got that person permanent, some things it changed. So that's the challenge, so they asked me not to mention the termination and releasing, but it's only fair for me to let you all know as governing body. That's the challenges we're facing first months. They're good, but we can help it if they have family problem, we can help it if they have whatever problem.
If some of the barriers there, this is because this is what I've heard in the past, is some of the barriers, the salary, the annual salary.
Not so much, that's some, but these people, hardship is not.
Yeah, no, understood.
Somebody that don't wanna come to work, because obviously they had an issue, they just don't feel something, that's nothing to do with the salary. But however, governing body, I need you to, by the way, and I told my ASO, find the first step where we have to go to get the salary up and running.
Can we get a copy of the job description?
The new one.
Okay, no, thank you. Before we close it out there, Joe, I think that's two good points right there. That the governing body, to get good qualified individuals, you have to interest them. Obviously, he always loses to that because they're probably being offered more salary somewhere else. We know this is an issue, and it's been an ongoing issue for GOVA for the longest time, not only to attract, but also to maintain and keep VSRs, i.e. accredited reps and things like that. As a governing board, I think what I want to do is in the next meeting that we have, potentially as a rep, we review the job description and so on and so forth. See if we can take a look at that PDQ and make our own recommendations for also a salary increase. There's people that want to do the work, but then they're looking at that salary saying, well, yeah, I want to be doing something that's worthwhile and meaningful, but I can't do it and feed my family at that salary rate or whatever it may be. I know, Joe, in the past, you've done a comparison between what the national salaries are for these individuals that do it, and then you take a look at what's being offered in Guam. Somewhere to the tune of 25, maybe even 30% less than what's being offered in the States.
Yes.
So we know how important these individuals are to the island and to our veteran community. I think it would behoove us to sit here and actually take a look at those job descriptions and see if we can make it comparative to the what's being offered to the PSRs in different state agencies. That being said, I will go ahead and I'll transition. Well, before I go ahead, Mr. Chris.
Piggybacking off of what you're suggesting,
Sure.
can you share with us the savings that's going to be incurred because we moved the chancellery no longer pays?
Were you paying rent, Joe?
No,
Yes, sir. Okay.
So where we're at, we're not paying rent, it belongs to Gura. So once we leave that place, we have to water blast it, clean it, paint it, and give it back the way it should be.
No savings.
No, we've been saving because we haven't been paying for rent at all.
It's like we could use that to. Fund the paying.
Well, we'll figure it out, right? That's for oversight chairs and legislature to review, possibly finding funds somewhere, lapse funds that weren't used or spent somewhere else to see if we can go ahead and do that. Transitioning that over, a couple of meetings ago, we had talked about the VSO trainer, the veteran accredited rep trainer that's going to be coming in. I took a look at that grant. I have my thumb right on that grant itself. And so each organization is going to be afforded one person to send to that training. So you have your individuals in your organizations that want to help. Maybe they're already helping veterans, maybe they're already doing this, or maybe there's somebody in your auxiliary groups or whatever that would be a great asset to your organization. Right now, the way it's going to work is the trainer is going to be brought in to train the 6 that GOVA is going to be hired. It would be a waste for that person to be brought all the way out here only to train 6. And so we had asked a few meetings ago, would GOVA be open to allowing up to 10 additional people to go through that training? The answer is yes. So each of your organizations is allowed to go ahead and bring that to bring a person into that training. So we have up until March to finalize a list from each organization. Now, if you don't intend to send someone, let us know, because there might be another organization that might want to send 2. Question.
Not a question, but comment. Do you have a listing of the nonprofit organizations that we asked you for back at the last meeting? Have you made it?
You're talking about these are the organizations within the commission?
Well, supposedly it was advertised, you got about 31 organizations, and I don't see 31 organizations here.
Understood, and
Well, who are the legitimate ones that we can,
the
so
ten,
I can pass this word on the Vet Talk Show, I can ask them.
right now it's afforded to the members of the Veterans Commission itself.
So this is a total entity.
Can I speak to that for a moment?
Go ahead.
32 listed.
Mhm.
A lot of them are no longer active, but they're still listed within the roles of the government of Guam.
Okay,
Some of them have been defunct for years, some of them just haven't renewed their 501c.
mhm.
So in that instance, those people are not eligible as members of the commission. They can participate in meetings and so on and so forth, but the problem is, who's the point of contact now? Because they've been out of service for 5 years, 10 years.
Well, wouldn't it be a natural thing if they would register with the commission as part of their eligibility to become commission members?
Understood, 1 second, question.
At one time, there used to be an updated list at GOVA. And they would call once a year and say, okay, is this still the commander? Is this still? What happened to that? I don't know. But it used to be a whole list of veterans organization, point of contact, and their president, commander, whatever you want to call them. Was at GOVA. So when veterans got here, they could go here. Here's a list. If you need any help, contact these people. What happened to that? I don't know.
What that mean? That was done.
No,
Okay. So Trent, go ahead.
I'm sorry, do you have dates in mind yet for that training?
This is going to be towards the end of March.
Towards the end?
Yeah, towards the end of March. I'll get it confirmed. So it's 1 full week of training. That is the funding to be provided by the Department of Interior through a TAP grant
Here on Island.
here on it. So in the past, this was even prior to the director's timeframe. It used to cost the government thousands upon thousands of dollars just to get their employees, send them off island. You're talking about $10,000 per head just to go through training, if not more. So in this situation, we're looking at bringing the trainer here. We will find office space for them to be able to conduct their training. Maybe it might be down at the cemetery, wherever. But there is a potential to train 16 individuals. The employees of OVA, and then 1 from each member organization sitting in that is present on the list of the 10. Sir.
These individuals that are gonna be trained, guarantee that at the end of the training, they get certified?
So there's, like we talked about in the previous meetings, I think you were all fine for this discussion. We talked about what the whole scenario looks like with certification, trip training. I wish there was someone was here to talk about it. You're gonna go through the minimum required training first, and that's the person that's coming out here. Immediately after that, there's something called a trip training. And that's where there'll be a coordinated effort with someone local in the GOVA office to help guide them through what's gonna be the next steps. So once they complete the trip training, right, and that's gonna take another week, maybe 2 weeks. Once that's completed, GOVA is going to certify that they've trained them. And then the background check and the application for that individual is then gonna be submitted up to VA. And what we've learned is big VA, when they're doing their whole background check, and just because of the backlog that there is there, it could take 6 to 9 months for them to be fully accredited. In that time frame, they may continue to shadow the employees down at GOVA until they become fully accredited. It's not gonna be under your organization, because other than VFW and Legion, I don't think anybody else here is nationally accredited. So these individuals, once they're fully accredited all the way out there, it is still funneled through as a representative of GOVA. We're not offering, at this time, there's not offer to, okay, you're gonna be getting paid, whatever it may be. Joe, the director, will have, more than likely have openings at that time, and if your member went through all of this training, it immediately qualifies them to be an employee of Guam Office of Veterans Affairs. So the goal is to take it from his 2 employees down at GOVA to, at some point, 16 people walking around with the training and the accreditation that they need, which is, in my opinion, I would love to have somebody in my organization that I can pick the phone up and say, guess what, guys, we're gonna do some education training this Saturday. Let's bring all the veterans in, we're gonna give them education training on how to, where to go and so on and so forth. This way, we're not waiting and, hey, let me go down to Gova and see when's the next available appointment that they may have down there. The next appointment could be in a month, could be in 2 months, who knows when. But now I have somebody at, I wouldn't say my beck and call, but I would have somebody within my organization saying, hey, we put your name up there, you went through the training, you've been fully accredited. Here's what I'd love to see happen. Once a month, we're gonna meet at our headquarters, at our meeting. And the new members are gonna come in, and the very minimum you're gonna do is they're gonna start with the paperwork. So that when they finally do go down to see the employees of Gova, you know, the first 10, 15, 20% of that paperwork is done, and they're not sitting down there for a 3-hour appointment going through everything. The individual in your organization has already drafted paperwork to get their DD 214, done the paperwork to draw all their medical records, so that when the packet is ready to be handed over to Gova, it's not a 3-hour appointment, right? That's frustrating and all that stuff. It's, hey, here's 30 minutes of, okay, sign the documents, paperwork is gone through. That's the dream, that's the goal, that's what we intend to have happen with these additional, I would say, VSOs at large, so to speak. Sir,
What is the deadline to submit this name?
if we can submit this by the next meeting, and again, up until the training that starts, I will go ahead and solicit and see if we can get additional names. If we come up with 60 names and you say, Roy, I absolutely have 2 names that I've got to push through this, I will see what I can do if there's enough grant funding left over to maybe increase it to 20 seats. Because we know maybe at some point, again, you don't know the background of every single person in your organization, but it could result in that, hey, I'm sorry, sir, sorry, ma'am. There was something in your background check that couldn't allow you to move forward with this whole thing. Good, they got the training, they got the trip training, but the background check didn't come through. So then that might take us down from 16 to 15. Well, if we go and we have, you know, part of attrition, right? We have more numbers that are out there, right? That's the whole goal. I mean, VFW, American Legion, I believe you guys are a rep, at least in the area, correct?
Yes, I have one, and
Okay,
she's training another, and
yeah, right. Okay, and that'll be great.
I do abuse her. I call her all the time.
Exactly, and that's what we want you guys, what we want everybody else to do is, you know, we want Frank to be able to call somebody from the Air Force Association and say, guess what? There's training, you're gonna do this, we're gonna have 20 Air Force Association members in this meeting place. I need you to teach them, because these guys have never applied for their benefits, so on and so forth. Because if he sends all 10 down to Gova, there's 2 people that are processing. Vice, you have your VSO in your meeting, at your time, at your location. Okay, they've got 10 cases. They do the first 20% of that work that they need to do, if not more. So that when they take that paperwork down to Gova, it's, oh, they already did this, did this, did this. All right, this meeting is not gonna take 3 hours, this is gonna take 30 minutes. Veteran so-and-so, let me just go and punch some things in here, create a file within Gova, and then they're on their merry way. Right, because the frustration is, I gotta go down there, I gotta wait, it's gonna take so many hours. My appointment's not for another 3 weeks, another month, or whatever it may be. So we're expanding the force that Gova has to try to make it, and we're giving it directly to the members of the commission, so that you will be then responsible for that training, for that person that's going through that training.
Who's gonna pay for these guys?
Say again,
Who's gonna pay for those?
it's a Department of Interior TAP grant.
Is it what?
Department of Interior, this is a grant.
Who applied for this grant?
This was a grant that was applied for many years ago.
Never heard of it.
State hearing.
State Clearinghouse. We did this once before. So this time I have my thumb all over this one, and we're gonna make sure that it is going to operate the way it was intended to be, and we're gonna watch this all the way through. So every time I meet with the Guam State Clearinghouse and going over this grant, I've already made contact already with the trainer that's gonna be coming in. We know what's expected, so I've already shared a little bit with what's expected from the individual. Obviously, you might want to just address this up front. Do you have any problems passing a background check, a national background check? And the answer is
Just for time,
Yeah.
I just highly recommend. I mean, March is a tight term. I mean, we've been talking about it, I get it, right, but there's some questions that need to be asked. So if they send out an instructor, what's the student instructor ratio? Because if it's only 10 and we're saying 16, we've already busted them, right? The second thing that I'll mention just for thought, and we gotta put this together and put it out to us, so that way we provide solid personnel rather than just try to jump through hoops, because the second thing is, if we train, say we train 16.
Mhm.
And we can't pass, some of them can't pass a background check. Man, we wasted 16 people's times, right, that we were anticipating gonna get 16, so that's why I'm saying, I think we need to put a pin in this, get a little bit more information and push it as fast as possible. So that way we get the right people in the right seat, so we're not wasting and burning seats, but the student to instructor ratio, I am concerned about that.
Let us,
Yes, sir.
his background. How far you go into his background?
So, thank you for bringing that up. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna meet with Jen Paz, Tanya Eubanks. And those are two individuals that, well, I know Jen Paz was the one that recently just went through the whole training. And Brian is, who's the regional director, your regional trainer?
What's that?
Regional trainer.
The regional.
Alan Turner.
Alan Turner.
Alan Turner.
Is Alan Turner still?
No,
No, he's not. Okay, so it's Jen that's,
Jen is,
okay,
no, the lovely VFW pulled his certification.
okay. So I'll work with Jen Paz, Tanya Eubanks, and we'll go over the minimum requirements that the two have had to go through. Joe, if you can shed some light on what they're expecting. We'll draft a single page of what the prime candidate looks like. So this way we can send it out to you all, even electronically in the next week or so. All right, is that a good enough time? Give us till next week.
So you want the name no later than our meeting?
By the next meeting, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna send out electronically what the prime candidate looks like for you.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll say, hey, somebody that's the prerequisites, computer literate, know how to obviously navigate the internet, basic things like that. Yes, sir.
If our distinguished secretary, adjutant, whatever he is over there, Mr. Former senator. If he can get this rolled up for me, I can put it over the air Wednesday.
We'll get on it as soon as we can.
Or get it to me by Wednesday.
Understood. Okay, that's enough on that stuff there. Any further discussion on the director's report? If there,
I have one follow-up.
sure.
I know he went down too fast on the community center. Science area, I hear April, but early part of April, end of April.
I'm gonna use the month of April all the way to the tail end. Because the building manager, which is someone assigned from BOA to oversee it. Feel more comfortable that we're gonna take the whole month of April to give him the benefit of the doubt that. The contractors that are there now are able to fulfill their part of the contract.
My other suggestion is, I said this, that once everything is ready, can you get the commission first to tour that? So the whole commission can go up there and see that before the whole public.
Sure.
Okay.
And guys, I apologize for those of you that did not make it to the ribbon cutting. There's gonna be a ribbon cutting for this one, so somehow there was a disconnect. Me going out inviting or informing you all about the ribbon cutting down at the chapel. I don't want that to happen again. There's gonna be a ribbon cutting for this. So the accident will make sure he reminds me.
So can we invite people before the ribbon cutting?
Yes, sure. We could. Yes.
Okay, well, that's released at least 2 weeks' notice.
Just curious that everything's good to go equipment wise up there right now at the cemetery.
Yes, we are working, State Clearinghouse is working on getting us the lifting, and additional lifting device and loading device.
Okay, any other, sir?
Mr. Chairman, it's come over to the attention over the show, many questions asked. In this process of movement, well, I've explained to him that Dora was taking care of the rent facilities for our old place. What is it gonna cost us for the chancery?
From what I understand, there's nothing because the government bought the building and it belongs to the government.
No rent, just utilities, just
Okay.
power, internet, water.
Pretty much what we was doing down,
That's
Ask-
right. Yeah.
okay, good.
I just want a little bit of clarification, going back to the hiring process, I think you keep mentioning the chauffeur's license. What does it differ with the CDL, like commercial driver's license, heavy duty equipment versus?
So chauffeurs, because I believe up to 10,000 gross pounds weight, you can drive smaller trucks and all that stuff. CDL is fifth wheel.
Fifth wheel.
Fifth wheel.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's correct. So just to bring you up to speed, maybe you weren't here at that time, but just to keep it short. The previous job requirement said they had to have a chauffeur's license. Joe went in, said, hey, let's remove that. He had it downgraded to may. They may have to get a chauffeur's license. But there is a law that basically says when you make any change to a job description, there is a 6-month maturation period, and that ends March 1st. So what that does is it's now gonna say, okay, everybody has a chauffeur's license, this is the size of the group they can apply to now everybody else. Okay? Any further discussion? No further discussion, sorry.
Sorry, so, I mean, this was mentioned during the public hearing, but. You know, regarding the 3 locations, right, it would have been, it's after the fact. But it would have been great to at least have the body part of the discussion with regards to the decision, because that was. For me, that was definitely a surprise that we found out that Gogo was moving to the Chancery. So I think it would have been a whole lot better if we had at least a say or an opinion on where our veteran office was gonna be, rather than, you know, go to a public hearing and said, yep, this is where it's gonna be, and we were like, wait, what? So how did that happen? So just for.
We actually heard that at the Veteran State.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
just a point of,
so, Mr. Director, because of the law that's been updated, have now. Part of your report every single month now is a MAC report, a move, an add, or a change. Anything that is moving, you're adding or changing anything to the facilities, the hiring or anything like that, can you please make sure that every report that comes out from here, you know, you give us that status. If equipment is up to par, all we need to hear is, hey, equipment is good to go. The only time we need to hear about equipment is, gentlemen, I'm short, this machine is down, so on and so forth. So I know you've got a lot of things on your mind, but just so that we're not surprised in the future, any move out or change that could be affecting where veterans go for their services, please notify the commission.
because it allows us to help you. You know, it allows us to help you. Number 2, it puts us, you know, at stage front, right? We're part of a decision and not just being, you know, forced down our throats.
You know, there's your voice, there's your voice, and there's 10 additional voices in here that represent the majority of the veterans in the community. And I think if there's something that you wish to get pushed through the legislature or the executive branch, I think at some point you say, gentlemen, help me out. Here's what's being offered, here's what's being said is going to happen. I need assistance because this is what you feel is best, so on and so forth. So that's it from here on out. If there's no further discussion, can I get a motion to accept the?
I think the chapel utilization SOP.
Oh, was that, you're gonna talk about that?
So on the chapel utilization SOP and also the office, you'll have a copy of the chapel SOP, I think, the second vice.
Okay, sure. Okay,
Take a look at that. I didn't put a date on there, but the effective date should have been 23rd January when the vision cutting taken place, or 2013 January.
okay, so the quick question was, I think this was brought up and I heard this about a week ago. Can mass services be held at the chapel?
Yes,
Okay, so that's,
Catholic can do it. Yes.
okay, so any denomination can be provided there, so. Family members, so long as there's no conflict, they're gonna go ahead and reach your office and say. This is the date of my veteran's burial, I'd love to schedule for services at the chapel. And so now it's just a matter of scheduling, correct?
Yes, and the family members responsible for whichever priest that they decide to use. They need to request for that particular.
Okay, so it's on the family to be the one to coordinate with your village priest or your church priest or pastor. Funeral home, or whatever it is.
There's only one obstacle on that, okay? When I talked to the vice mayor, which is Father Gopagan.
Mhm.
I mean, there's no problem whoever the priest is that you want it, but you have to make sure that you let the priest from PD because he's in charge of that parameter there, so, you know, for the record. Just to make sure that
So by default, then it would be the PD priest.
yeah.
If it's Catholic, it would be the PD priest that would take the precedence if they don't speak to their priest.
Just to make sure.
Okay, understood. Okay, so other than the SOPs,
So that's only for Catholic,
Yeah, only
or is that?
no, so it's all denominations can utilize.
No, I'm talking about contacting the P.
You're right,
Okay.
That's only for the Catholic
Catholic
denomination.
denomination.
In the video law. Mr. Chair. In the video law.
Okay, I'm gonna just double check in case the senator jumps on. Usually we hit a 1 hour limit.
Is that right?
Technical difficulties, standards.
Yan na nagpuli dos. Papaliyas. God damn it. That's God damn it.
Okay, so now I have a motion to, if there's no further discussion, a motion to accept the director's report at the SOP.
So, second,
Okay, good to go. All right, gentlemen, now we're gonna go ahead and move to the old business. Again, item 9, we're gonna put in front of item 8. I'm gonna go ahead and discuss the old business. We already discussed a little bit about the elimination of the chauffeur license requirements. Joe, quickly go over the acceptance of the donations by GOVA. We talked about this already.
I mean, the reason why that item is on there is that the GOVA director asked at the last meeting
Yes.
to get affirmation from the commission on the decision that he made to
You're right.
eliminate the chauffeur's license requirement. Because he did that unilaterally, so he just wanted basically affirmation from. And so I would move that, you know, the commission affirms that because the Guam law regarding driver's license really requires that driver's license when you're moving on Guam's highways. And since that stays within the compound, doesn't go on Guam's highways, then really the chauffeur's license requirement is refused.
Okay, so with that motion, then if there's no, I mean, we've already talked about it quite a bit. If there's no further discussion, then can we go ahead and just take a real quick vote on affirming the director's move to remove the requirement of the chauffeur's license for the cemetery worker? All in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? No further discussion, okay, the ayes have it. And for next meeting, that will be removed. So Joe, we're backing your idea to go ahead and remove that. And so next meeting, that will be removed from old business. My apologies. Now moving on to the acceptance of donations by GOVA for the use of the chapel. This was, I remember, Adjutant, we reviewed the law. I think there was a little bit of discussion about.
In fact, the Senator Makanai did call it, she was watching.
Correct.
And the law does allow the acceptance of donations. The Veterans Affairs Officer may accept donations. And the donations shall be used for maintenance of the cemetery, for the Veterans Affairs Office, for events, or for purposes intended by the donor. The only other requirement, if you know, so if somebody says, hey, I want to make a donation for the candles in the chapel, you can do that. The only other requirement, and of course, you know, the accounting of that, right? The only other requirement is that the Veterans Affairs Officer and a member of the commission shall approve all expenditures. So unlike the other fund that you have, the reimbursements from NCA, which is totally your call. This particular fund requires a member of the commission along with their signature to spend those funds.
That's correct.
Okay, so that's as clear as it can get. I think the only question was the chapel, the chapel itself. So it's very similar to what we've done in the past. When there were events that were held by GOVA, Memorial Day, Veterans Day, things like that, we've all been there to say, I'm donating, my organization's donating 10 cases of water. Here's $100 towards food, blah, 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 stuff like that. So it's no different. Chapel now falls under that whole umbrella of the Guam Office of Veterans Affairs. So that being said, it's the only thing that's going to change from here on out is now before you expend any funds to make sure you get the approval, preferably, obviously, either through me or to one of the executive board members in the commission. Right, so we're good on that one. Transition plan for the Guam Veterans Commission to be in compliance with the public law 38-90.
So on this one, on January 31st, I sent out by WhatsApp to the group the transition plan. Basically, what is it that each organization needs to do to, so that we're in compliance with the law. And you know, that's basically providing the documentation reflecting your nonprofit status, earning certificate of good standing, and a copy of the organization's bylaw. And then each organization to submit 2 names of members from its organization that will sit on the commission, either as a primary or as an alternate. Now, a question was asked earlier, you know, the number of veterans organizations. So at least from, I know that we've been calling out on the attendance roster a total of 11 organizations. In the listing that was provided by that Department of Revenue and Tax publishes, and the last one was June of 2025. They list 16 veteran organizations, but of that 16, only 8 are valid tax exempt status. So that means 3 of the organizations here do not have an active tax exempt status. So that's basically the transition plan.
Okay, understood. And I know there was when Dan was here in the past as well, there was a lot of back and forth of what was the minimum requirements and so on and so forth. So with that, one of the next things that we're going to be talking about is the different subcommittees that are going to be within the commission itself. Some of the subcommittees that were written into the bylaws there either can be combined or even removed. For instance, there's the finance committee. We don't get any funding at all. One of the other things that I'm going to recommend is a grievance committee. So while public law states we have to have an opportunity for grievances and all, give the
Thank you.
opportunity for the general public to be able to meet separate from the commission itself. The commission takes, summarizes those issues that were brought up during the grievance committee, and then we can have it as part of the agenda. That grievance committee report, we will have then the veteran outreach and public relations report, the policy and legislative committee reports. These are all forthcoming once each of the committees are created. Again, we can, go ahead, sir.
I'm sorry, but backing up a little bit, so after the law was passed, the validity of the commission as it currently is, one of the requirements was to be approved by the. So how does that, has that already been done? I mean, are we functioning by law now as a valid committee? Or has anybody been approved by the governor? I'm not sure. I'm just curious how that's gonna play out.
So until we take the action with the transition plan that the adjutant has pushed forward, we are continuing to operate and because the commission itself, prior to the public law, we elected ourselves in here, so on and so forth. And instead of starting all over from scratch, what we're gonna do is, as is, with the transition plan, we're gonna give a time frame for each organization to provide their paperwork. The 2 names are gonna more than likely be the names that's already been here, already being represented and all that stuff. And then we will continue the rest of the term of service that we're already sworn in and stuff. So if for all intents and purposes, we need to get the governor to come down here again and approve of all the member names that we push through, just so that we're in 100% compliance at that time. I say we give ourselves, at some point, a deadline of, within the next 3 months. So I say by June, that'll give everybody time to do their paperwork, what they need to do with DRT, make sure they've got the names lined up, get their tax exempt status squared away with DRT and all that stuff. And by July, we can have the governor down here again. We'll present all those names. We have the governor come down again, or even a separate ceremony. We all raise our right hands and we take that oath to be verified and we approve it. Okay. Yes.
And
Ashton, anything specific?
Yeah, I think maybe we can push up that.
Yeah,
date. I mean, right now, out of the 11 organizations that's on the roster, 3 of them basically really need to get with DRT. But the other organizations, MOPH, you got an active status, but we need to have on file your certificate of good standing, a set of your bylaws, and then official documentation of your nonprofit status.
My question, when Dan Mendiola was here, I know that he have a listing of the organization that already have all the compliance. Do we still need to do another compliance?
Well, the problem is we don't have a file. We don't have a file of.
Dan Mendiola's finding?
May I speak to that? Okay, but the information that we have is it's 26, 18 years old.
18?
And so my suggestion would be that in order for us to stay with it, is that we reconstitute the information as requested. And then on an annual basis, we submit proof that we have continued to maintain our compliance with a certificate of standing.
Well, the law is very specific about, what constitutes an approved organization, veteran organization.
But, and I think the question he's asking is that since we submitted your paperwork one time, but you need to do it again. I think the basic information doesn't need to be resubmitted again unless it's amended.
Yeah.
That's my question, because Dan Mendiola have a listing of all the different organizations that already comply with what you're asking. So my question again is.
Do you have, I need that actual list, because I believe Tanya Eubanks maintained a list like that before down
At my
there.
office.
Yeah, no, actually, revenue tax, if you get on the website.
No, but
They have a list
because
of-
another state got the listing of the office, and we need to share that with the chair.
Okay, so let's do it this way. In the chat, what will end up happening, going out there is the adjutant will message you, sir, if you don't mind, message the individual organizations that are thumbs up with everything. If there is a shortage in one way, shape, or form, go ahead and you'll be expecting a message as well from the adjutant. At that time, we'll relay to you, you're just missing this and or whatever it may be to be compliant. Once that is all taken care of, Joe, whoever had the file down at the office, maybe every quarter, we just take a look at it and say, okay, everything's good. I believe every 6 months you have to, for nonprofit organizations, you have to file a 990 form, whatever, with your 990 and all that stuff. And so it wouldn't be an issue to just maybe do it every 6 months. Is everybody good? Go ahead.
3 meetings ago, I turned in a complete packet.
Yes.
There were 4 others or 3 others that turned in
Okay.
a complete set of the current bylaws, standing.
Okay.
Proof of.
We're getting there.
bylaws, so.
Gentlemen, we're getting there.
And so GOVA has those files.
I think I have 3 applications to include HMI,
One veteran
Pragata,
and one veteran's board of Senate.
one of those groups.
Brotherhood of
But
Veterans.
also a list, just a listing of all the different veteran groups, but not their bylaws and all that. I'll see if Dan Mendiola still has.
I mean, I think we're good based on the going on the business of revenue and tax. Revenue and tax has listed down who are the active tax exempt organizations. And we can go off of that, but I think it would be prudent on the part of the commission to really establish a file that we can take a look at, look at the bylaws of the different organizations. And have those on file.
To add to what you're saying, information is opened, so it's got names of people whom.
No longer.
That's the way
Just now.
So the information needs to be.
Okay, instead of trying to figure out, go back and dig all paperwork out, if you have it. You should have these copies with you anyway, within your organization somewhere, somehow. Bring them in. Every meeting from here on out, myself or the adjutant will have a hard folder, hard copy. That we'll bring to every single meeting, that will have every member organization's information in that packet.
Mr. Chairman, can we move up the deadline on that one item for each organization?
Transition.
To submit their names.
Okay, the name.
Of the alternate and the primary. To sit on the commission. That I think reasonable to get it.
What do you suggest, sir?
Before the next meeting. The matter of the organization. The matter of the organization, submitting the names, sorry.
Week before the next meeting.
Even break.
As soon as possible, right?
I'll send you a text.
As soon as possible.
It's gonna be conflict, man, because
Enough to have
there are
it.
more nits than there are stuff too.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like it's been freaking vetted.
So I know personally offhand, with advice over here, the Third Marine Division Association submitted an application and everything with DRT well over 6 months ago. And I just messaged the director asking, hey, what's the status, or who do I need to talk to? So if your organization hasn't already been vetted through and all that stuff, at some point,
It's painful, and so just a little bit of background, right? You talk about revamping or changing, right? That's exactly what Third Mart Div did. We redid our constitution and redid our bylaws to bring it up to date, because the last time it was redone, I should say, was 1983. 1983. So here we are, and they even told us when we turned in our documents, 6 to 12 months. Just saying, just in case if you guys are trying to figure this out. I'm telling you guys right now, I even wrote a letter for expedite back in November. Just letting you know, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but
okay, so
be prepared.
so basically the two names, whatever documents, bring in by next meeting. This way we already know who your primary and who your secondary is. If moving forward, if there's and your primary or your secondary is not here, that will be considered absent, basically. Okay, it's not just, can I just call somebody from my organization and just send them down there to sit in? No, because we need that individual to be able to make decisions on behalf of your organization. Okay.
The same form that we're using, Boba has? Yeah. Same form, yes, okay. Dave, I think I got yours.
Okay, and I will have a hard copy folder of whatever documents we receive in that hard copy. Okay, go ahead. Okay, so moving on to the next one, gentlemen, I know we're talking about a lot of stuff here in the interest of time. We already know that we need these different subcommittees. We can go about it a couple of ways. We can ask for people to volunteer to be, obviously sign up for the different subcommittees. You have people that are great already at what they're doing, with the public policy, legislative subcommittees, with the adjutant as the great leader on that one. There's public relations, and veteran outreach, radio station. Obviously, that's one way to get great outreach there. So, I could sit here and say, you know what, Mr. Atule, you're in charge of public outreach and so on and so forth. Every Wednesday, you can share what's going on. We can go about this by either assigning and or people going ahead and volunteering to sign up for each of these subcommittees right here. And that separate one is going to be the only one that I'm going to add on to that one is going to be the grievance subcommittee.
Mr. Chairman, excuse me.
Sir.
Just to let you know, I have my certification. It was signed by the governor. I am considered media. Okay, so be careful what you say, because I write it down.
Okay. So Understood, I appreciate it, thank you.
Yeah,
If he's pressed, so if you need to press anything, it's on his forehead.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to just inform you that the Digital Veterans Organization is just now reactivating because we have been deactivated for a while because of medical injuries, medical problems, death, membership. So I'm just trying to regroup the organization. And we've been having meetings and but we're still gonna have another one in April 1st. So we will know definitely how much more members we can establish, trying to bring in the more younger guys, you know, because a lot of our guys have passed away. So I would just like to let you guys know that our organization presently, we still want to move to continue with the Digital Veterans Organization, but we're right now on standby right now because we don't have enough members. But we're all registered ever since 2010.
Okay.
I just never received, never submitted documents to this commission.
Joe, do you have a digital form of, a digital copy of the form that, each organization? I know you have the hard copy, right? Do you have it in digital or a scan, fillable form? Okay. Send it, if we get it or the adjutant gets it, then we can push it back out there. And then we can go ahead and create a very short checklist of what is gonna be needed, because some of you are sitting here saying, I have this, but I don't have that.
Yeah.
What do I absolutely have to have? Again.
Could you just email all the requirements?
Correct, we'll email it and or again, also put it out on the
Thank you.
WhatsApp chat. Okay, I know we've been beating over the subcommittees, so on and so forth, but we're trying to get through just the meat and potatoes right now, so. I will leave the subcommittees on there and we can go ahead and possibly.
Mr. Chairman, yes, sir. Good, you know, let's go, if we can formally establish at this meeting, the legislative and policy committee. You know, that's one committee that we really need to stay on top of, because there's a lot of changes, a lot of
Okay,
new legislation coming in.
okay, so let's push this through, understand your.
That one, I'll
Okay.
volunteer to chair that one, you
Okay,
know, if the body is willing.
any objections to that? Senator Abbott is stepping up to take the lead on the legislative, subcommittee. Yes,
I'd be willing to work with him on that.
good to go. Okay. You can put me down. Sure, all right. That's a big one because we know there's senators, even if it's not the oversight chair, there's senators that are proposing different bills and changes like that, so yes. Fast moving, sometimes we don't get notice until later or whatever it may be, so I appreciate the three of you stepping up to do that.
The other committee standing committee that really needs to be established now and especially because it's the Veterans Cemetery committee. Because of the fact that we're in this tight window to get that A&E service contract through construction, getting the grant. We gotta stay on top of that, and then, you know, so that one, somebody.
Don't all raise your hand at the same time, so this
It's to be working in
With-
concert with both director.
so if you have good relationships, if we worked with people from Department of Public Works, by all means, you know. Raise your hand, maybe even to just assist Joe. Chris, maybe Chris. Okay,
I'll like to be on that committee.
I want to hear all the.
You want to hear the other ones?
Yeah,
Okay.
before I jump on.
okay, not a problem. Anything else?
There's the Veteran Outreach and Public Relations committee. You know, we get beat up on the talk shows because there's this communications gap between things that we discuss, the things that we're doing. And the vet talk show, even the Monday night HMI show, that, you know, they come up with questions, but and so somebody from here really has got to be able to bridge that gap out there. OVA director, the chairman, you know, but that committee really needs to be stood up.
I will take the lead on the public relations and the outreach, that way it's we don't have a conflict of who's saying what or whatever it may be, and before anything is put out. before I put out anything like that, it's gonna be shared with the entire commission, so. If something happens in the public, something happens in the legislature, we don't just shoot off the hip. Basically what we'll do is we'll say this is the position of the Guam Veterans Commission. In quick discussion with the executive board or with some of the members, here's the overwhelming opinion of the commission. We feel we are totally in support or against a certain bill or certain measures or whatever it may be. We like, we don't like, whatever it may be. I think we start taking more of an official stance of create the letterhead and all that stuff. Anybody else? Chris, all right.
So I know the vet talk show is
Yeah.
one thing, you know, somebody to after a meeting the following Wednesday to sit in on their show to bridge that communications gap. So I guess will you be there then, Mr. Chairman, as the chairman of that committee?
I don't think it's gonna be required. I'm gonna be there, need to sit there every single Wednesday. What time is your show?
10 to 12. Wednesdays, right after Patty Roy's show.
Okay, so that's not a problem. Obviously, you're gonna know when there's questions. If you don't already have my number, it hasn't changed. Call me, even if it's.
I don't
just-
have a listing of any of you members. I have no idea how to get in contact with you. Unless I come knocking on your door. I need that listing.
Easy fix.
Not on the WhatsApp channel.
Oh, oh no, not on our
Okay.
WhatsApp chat.
Okay, not a problem. Wednesdays, 10, 12. And that's the one in Upper Paragon, right? Paragon Heights.
Better than I.
Yeah, good catch.
Right behind revenue and tax. Foremost.
Section 4, right?
Yes.
It's staircase. Okay, so the public relations, and then there's this strategic modernization planning. Is that down the pipeline? Is that kind of cemetery?
Well, so that's kind of, you know, part of your modernization plan that you submitted, you know?
Yes,
Okay, so the modernization plan is Joe's, basically it's working with the GOVA directors, way forward. And that's development with, not only facilities, right, but it's also, programs.
programs, personnel, the facility itself. Kind of a big picture of
The way forward.
way forward.
Okay, so this is just. Joe needs a talking partner, obviously, when he's gonna sit there, a partner or two. To bounce ideas off, so that it's not just him within his staff, it's. Somebody in the community, i.e. the commission, that's gonna be able to sit in on those meetings. You can have what, once a month meeting,
Yeah, once a month.
so anybody wanna step up to do that?
I'll step up.
Okay.
Good job.
Thank you.
Okay, so now the tough one is going to be, and again, if you guys can figure this out with the grievance committee. By law, of course, we have to have an opportunity for the general public basically to provide grievances and things like that. We recognize 2 minutes at the end of this already well over an hour and a half meeting is gonna just add and extend. If you've been part of commission meetings 10 years and beyond, sometimes these grievances will take a 20-minute left turn and the meetings will never end, will never get through the agenda. So in a grievance committee, if nobody's gonna step forward to help run this, I'm gonna need at least 2 people. You don't have to worry about choosing where. We can ask again to use either the small conference room or this conference room. We can pick a time and a date that will be either bi-monthly, quarterly, monthly, whatever it may be. The grievance committee can say, hey, we just put your name out there. The office is open. If somebody wants to come in and air out their concerns, sir.
I would like to move that we defer
Defer the grievance
the
committee.
establishment of that committee until the following meeting, so that'll be under old business.
Okay, we will put that out on hold. Okay, so gentlemen, moving on, the amendment of the Guam Veterans Commission bylaws. Running for Public Law 38-90, so 182-38. We've kind of already been talking a little bit about how we're with the transition plan and how we're gonna become compliant with that. And this is once we get everybody's list of your primary and your alternative. That will be approved, obviously by the governor. We will maintain the executive board to include the people that have already been in here. The last thing we need to do is go through a whole other election when we just did one less than a year ago. Yeah, basically stuff like that. We've already made a lot of progress moving forward. So to just cap on that, we move forward with what we had just talked about a little bit earlier. Everybody get their documentation in, get your 2 names in. And then I will walk up and see when we can schedule for the governor to come down here. We can either, we're already gonna be here at the meeting, so we'll have her do it right at the beginning of the Veterans Commission meeting, maybe 15 minutes prior to the start of the meeting. Do all the swearing, I mean, the approvals. She accepts all the names and so on and so forth, officially is given to the executive, the governor, then also passed over again to the GOVA director. Okay, so now we're moving over to new business. This,
First item there, the proposed legislation. I wanna submit to the oversight chair proposed legislation, which amends the definition of what a spouse is, surviving spouse, and right now, the law says that a spouse has to be somebody who was married when I was on active duty. Well, we got a lot of soldiers who probably didn't get married until after they got out of active duty, right? So we've got to change that. And what I'll do is I'll send this out on the WhatsApp so that you all can take a look at it. And if you have any comments on the proposed amendments, maybe, you know, you can shoot it back to me. But I think we need to send this to the oversight chair.
if this becomes overwhelming for everybody, right, at least right now, we have the legislative committee with Vince and Mr. Poli, right? That's it. At least the 3 of you sit here. The senator, I'm pretty sure, has already done his due diligence, but yes, I do recall the whole definition of spouse while you're on active duty, and then there's a spouse after they have gotten out of the service. And a lot of that has to do with the benefits, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and then like the definition of a surviving spouse is that she's a surviving spouse only if that veteran died from service-connected injuries, right? But if you died in a traffic accident, she's not considered a surviving spouse, so. And that affects the local benefits that we have. So that's some of the things, and I'll shoot this out to the body so that you guys can take a look at it. The other proposed legislation is actually a resolution. 10 years ago, we had actually, when I was in the legislature, I had submitted a resolution asking to annex. There's federal property right adjacent to the cemetery. And for purposes of future expansion of the cemetery, I know it's not, I mean, you look at that and it kind of sees, you're not gonna build a cemetery with that, but we need to try and see if we can annex about 15 acres of property. So I've got the resolution put together. I'm working with Department of Land Management to get the necessary maps put together to attach to it. And then we'll submit it to the legislature, and basically it would be a request that would be given to the delegate and begin the conversation with the federal government to get the Navy to give us that 15 acres of property.
And this is the land, as you're facing the veteran cemetery, this is the land between the cemetery and the fuel farm, correct?
Correct. So as you're facing from the flagpole, if you're facing up towards Nimitz Hill, it's up towards the northwest,
East.
south part of it. It's only about 15 acres, so it's not. I don't think it's such a big ask.
Okay.
Then there was Bill 255-38, which was introduced by Senator Tony Ada, and what this does, it's a bill. It's quite a lengthy bill. Something along the lines of what Senator Matanani had introduced initially, but this one, the intent of it was to enhance the veteran law by giving it all the powers to do everything and whatnot, and so it requires quite a bit of analysis on our part, because it's really and it doesn't provide the bill does not provide any funding to enable you to do all these things, whatnot.
Is it still on the board? Did you withdraw?
No. That's another one that was withdrawn Oh, no, this is the new bill, it was Bill 248 that he had introduced and he withdrew it. 255. But we need to take a look at it and you know, see what provisions in there we can or cannot live with. And then give him that, or at least be prepared
To get feedback from the public comments.
in the public hearing, yeah. Not on the agenda, but I think we need to bring it up. And there's a bill 260 that was introduced by Senator Vince Warhol.
Oh, yeah.
And this has to do with the
Education.
Gold Star license plates.
Oh,
So right now, the Gold Star license plates, people who are eligible to put it on is the widow or the widower, the mother, father-in-law, and the mother and the father of the deceased veteran. Now he wants to add on there to make eligible the children of the
Deceased.
of the deceased. Wow. So that bill has been introduced. And I think we need to give some feedback to that. I mean, you know, you can have so many Gold Star plates.
Was there also another bill that was introduced, and I'm not sure if it was introduced yet, but it was also the education benefits.
There's a bill 202, which was
If we include the children for the Gold Star, do you think others will follow to include, for example, the Purple Heart and Bronze Star and all the children?
I mean,
That kind of works.
negotiate for that, right?
I think that's the issue that you have to do, all the children. Because once they amend that Gold Star, there's other special award already established by law. The Silver Star, the Purple Heart, the Bronze Star.
Yeah.
The Distinguished Cross.
That bill still
If
didn't.
they have all the children for the Gold Star. Don't be surprised.
So one was Senator Joseph Augustine's bill, right?
This one,
No, separate.
this one is Bill 260, it was just
No.
introduced.
So this one was 20, right? Was it a few months ago? This is one we're talking about license plate designs and all that stuff.
This doesn't involve.
This is the Gold
This-
Star.
Yeah, no, understood, right? But see, there's gonna be like,
Yeah.
like you're saying, there's gonna be a relationship there because if you open it up with one,
It opens it up.
then you're
Open
gonna,
up everything.
then you're gonna discuss everybody else, and that's the redesign of all the plates. Redesign and the plates for each designated bar.
We're waiting for our Vietnam veteran license plate.
Yep.
So I'm gonna say, all the children again?
Okay, so that's put out for your information, that's out on, it's awaiting public hearing. And then just for information, the legislature did pass the Veterans Higher Education Benefit Bill. You passed that, we're waiting for the governor's signature on it. Basically what it does is it extends veterans benefits to your dependents, provided that you have exhausted all your GI Bill and, you know, all your federal benefits, right? Then you can use that, but you can only use that on a how to put it, on a space available basis. So if there's an extra chair in the classroom,
Understood.
and you want to sign up for that class, then that veteran can, and he doesn't have to pay the tuition. So that's that bill is, and I make that loop to be signed, and we'll wait to see what happens. That's it on.
Bring your business.
That finishes the new business, yes.
Okay, in the interest of time, gentlemen, is there anything else that needs to be discussed at the next meeting? Nobody has anything?
I just got one thing, if we could, on the VA license plate, any active military member, 17, 5, 6 years of active duty, being a war veteran, you know, or a conflict. are they eligible to get a VA license plate?
I think any service member, they have the army.
DD 214.
Navy, any veteran that has to go down to ASEAN and get their certification.
But could they do it during active duty?
And they go up there and get their license.
Not during active duty.
Not during active duty.
Active duty is not veteran,
Yeah, not a veteran, yeah.
you're not a veteran.
That's the question. That's the question.
Because minimum requirements are your DD 214 or like already was
But the
DD
language,
22.
the language,
Regardless of
the language.
Okay. Good. Okay, gentlemen, there's a bunch of stuff that we need to go ahead and submit. Public comments, sir, anything?
No.
Can I jump on?
Yes. Your name?
I am Senator Sabrina Solis Matanani. I wanted to give you guys a heads up that I plan on calling an oversight hearing in March, and this is to go over just to get some updates on the chapel equipment, the RFP for the cemetery expansion, and just the budget situation, because Roy sent it to you, the letters from GOVA and BBMR regarding how GOVA will not be receiving their lapse funds that was authorized in the current fiscal year budget. And so I think, Joe, that's about almost $1 million you'll be short.
Yes, that's correct.
Have you had any other audience with the governor or BBMR and DOA?
Oh, no, I haven't.
Okay, so yeah, I've made the Committee on Finance aware of how this 1 million is being pulled, because it's not just GOVA that's being affected by this. Several government agencies, especially under my oversight, are receiving the same notifications. And so I'll be working with the committee chair on finance to find out what is going on with all this money that's being pulled from these different agencies that are critical, such as Veterans Affairs. So once I schedule this March oversight hearing, I will let you know. There's also some complaints and concerns I've been receiving on my end regarding the funeral services at the cemetery, which I will forward to you, Joe, later today or after this meeting, and also forward it to you, Roy, so that you are aware of what's happening. I look forward to working with you, Senator Atta, on legislation that you have been suggesting, especially the one with the spouses. And I'm glad that you're going to be presenting it to the Veterans Commission, because I look forward to hearing what they have to say. As for the other bills that have been introduced by my colleagues, they will more than likely come through my committee as long as there is not an appropriation attached. And so once they are referred to me, I will schedule the public hearing as soon as possible so that we can get everyone's input. But that's all I had, but thank you.
If you may schedule that public hearing to like the 3rd or the 4th week of March, I'll be on travel on the 1st week of March to DC for a conference.
Okay, if that works with everybody else, I can do that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, we know this was supposed to be for the January meeting, so we can either move this to March 6th, or if it's even earlier, it's going to be February 27th. That's 4 weeks from now. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I had one more thing regarding your public notices for these meetings. If it is possible for my office to cover the cost, as long as we have it in our budget, and we can do this, and it's okay with like the committee on rules, then I'm offering to just take care of the funding for these public notices so that these meetings can be consistent.
Well, Senator,
So
maybe. Well, Senator, maybe this is something you can help us out with, right? Because of from the excerpts from the law, basically it says publication or media. And so if we can get clarification if the media will suffice, and the list of media outlets, whatever the other commissions and agencies utilize on the digital platform, i.e. KUAM, Guam Daily Post, PDN, candidate, whatever it may be. If we can get them to publicly to put the public notices of not only the meetings, but also the agenda. That'll save not only GOVA, but it'll also save your office from having to spend that $780. So we're
Right,
leaning
so
towards.
I can tell you what we're doing on my end is we are publishing the notices on the legislature channel, which is it's TV and it's no cost. And we are also publishing it on I think it's the Government of Guam Public Notice Portal, which is digital, and there is no cost there. So
That's what we're intending to do, ma'am, is the TV station, right, your channel, the governor's channel, the
Right.
GovCon process, and if we can get a 100% thumbs up that that's gonna be perfectly fine for us, then we can proceed in that fashion.
right, and that's what we're doing. And I don't see why, if it's not good enough for what we're doing, it's not good enough for the Veterans Commission. But again, I think we might have the budget to be able to help cover, or help with costs, but that's a suggestion if you want to. I just need to check with the Committee on Rules. It's okay if we allow the Veterans Commission to post their notices. So
Yes,
I can
please.
let you know about that.
Yes, please. If we can get that, then that saves GOVA the $780
Yeah.
a month. Okay, I appreciate it, Senator. Thank you so much.
All right.
Mr.
You're talking about the March meeting, not to let you know that I am leaving March 1st, I'll be back on the 13th from Vietnam.
Oh, yeah. 27th, that's 4 weeks.
27th.
Of March, February. That's 4 weeks from now, gentlemen.
Meeting March 27th.
February 27th, February 20th. 4 weeks from now. Is that gonna be enough time?
Not long.
Okay, gentlemen, let's be realistic, right? In 4 weeks, are we gonna be able to accomplish what we need to accomplish in 4 weeks? Or shall we go ahead and move it to March 27th? That's gonna give us roughly about 8 weeks.
We're moving to March to
March 27th.
to March.
I'm good with that. Gives us time to get what we need to get, our ducks in a row, meet with our people and stuff like that. Monitor your emails, monitor your social media, your WhatsApp, because I'm gonna need those names of who you want to go through this training.
For the training.
Yes, for the training, and anything else that we need to do. So March 27th, gentlemen. 300, and we will go ahead and schedule for the same room. If there's move to adjourn, time is 16:38. Motion accepted, meeting adjourned, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time today. Thank you.
Don't thank us. Don't thank us.
Are going to stay the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Right, Jeff?
will have a hard copy folder that has.
And we had submitted the
Yeah.
copies.
I don't know where.
Yes.
Hey, Joe, let me know when you want to come on, or at least, if you want me to announce it, I can put it in, form and announce it. Okay?
All right, hey, did you check out that?
They're having to push this day on.
Check out, if you have any questions.
Okay.
Hang on to the.
Okay,
I mean, I didn't know that was your office.
Does the door have to be like?
My wife. It's not your radio station. Don't give her the like this argument. Is that your apartment? Right?